So, next one, the Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted have a phone booth. I have no idea what kind, I don't even know what kind of time travel rules they go by. It's literally George Carlin comes back from the future to tell Bill and Ted, you need to pass your test. Basically, what is going on is he comes back to the future because he needs. I don't even know. Like, is this the rule of he's coming back from the future and he's getting involved because he's already involved? Which will be, that's going to be an interesting one. In the next movie I'm going to be talking, next movie I'll be bringing up. Because, yeah, he comes back and he's literally the catalyst for why they pass their test. So they can do whatever they have to do. And then he comes back and some other guy comes back to kill Bill and Ted and replace them with his own robots, who are destroyed by Bill and Ted when they build their own robots after they beat death in, like, Twister and Battleship. Those are the two that stick out. So, yeah. And then they're making Bill and Ted 3. Personally, I'm not interested, but it's like, it's so weird. I mean, but again, much like the first movie I mentioned about Back to the Future, it's played up for laughs, so it doesn't really take itself seriously. Nothing really terrible changes. They don't mess anything up in a serious way or nothing. So, yeah. Okay. Now the next movie. The Men in Black series. Men in Black 3, specifically. Men in Black 3 was a very interesting thing. Where, apparently, again, we're going on the single timeline, like Back to the Future, where something changes that can mess things up. Now in this case, what happens is a guy named Boris escapes from prison. He's the last of his species that were made extinct because of some kind of defense system that the Earth had, and that specifically Kay, played by Tommy Lee Jones, and Josh Brolin, I can never remember his. I feel bad because I really liked this movie when I saw it. That young Kay was able to set up using the Apollo 11. So, interesting. So he goes back. He goes, apparently this other rogue alien created a time traveling device, and he used that to go back into the past, kill Kay, which we see it completely erases him from existence, and his entire apartment, in fact, gets changed to now having a family. In fact, the only people who remember Kay is Jay. And it's interesting how they even explain that. I mean, the whole thing, it's kind of stupid, but for the story, but the story's not that bad. The story's not bad, and it's explained in a way that, while you could scratch your head about it, it makes somewhat sense, because the thing is, Jay remembers Kay. No one else remembers Kay. Everybody else thinks Kay's dead. So, and what happens is, because of what Boris does, it ends up with he's no longer the last of his species. Now his species has come to Earth to devour everything. So that's great. And what they end up finding out is, for some reason, Jay is had some kind of temporal neural thing happen, because when everything in the rest of the world changed, and Jay, it had some kind of effect on Jay. So what ends up happening is they end up sending Jay to get the time machine from this guy again. It's because he made two. What a plot coincidence. So he made two. The guy goes, and when he's explaining to the guy what's going on, he's like, wait, so what? I mean, Kay's death's just a minor thing. And then Jay shows him what's going on. He's like, ooh, that's a pretty big minor thing. Like, yeah. And then when Jay explains to him about his wanting chocolate milk, which is weird, and the fact that he's the only one who seems to remember it, okay, the guy goes, oh, you remember? Oh, you must have been there then. You were involved. And Jay's like, hmm? And it makes sense. It's one of those things that makes sense, and at the same time, you don't want to think about it too hard. So Jay goes back, and their way of time travel is you take this machine, you jump, and you have to. It's the DeLorean thing. So they're basically doing everything from Back to the Future. The only difference is, instead of a car, you have to jump off from a building and have to be going really fast. So, and then hit a button, and it takes you through time until you get to the point where you want to be. So Jay goes to the past. There's shenanigans. He meets young Kay, who initially doesn't believe him, but as they go along, Kay just like, okay, fine, you're telling the truth. I really love. I cannot get over how much I love both how Will Smith is able to work with both Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin. It's just fantastic. It really is. And it's why I love the Man in Black series. But anyway, so he does all that. They get the machine from the space unicorn, as this species is also considered. Who can see like through, and this is, he can see like you can see the past, and he can see like every version of the future. And crying out loud, how the guy that is in that insane asylum. But anyway, so you get the device. They end up killing future Boris. Instead of capturing Boris, because Boris ends up killing a military officer who helped J and K get to the shuttlecraft. Past Boris is like, okay, go ahead, arrest me. And Kay's just like, not this time. Because he already killed the military officer who helped him. Now the military officer turns out to be Jay's dad. And while Kay does neuralize him, he does kind of take him on a walk, just wants to be really fatherly of him and explain to him what happened. Try to think about a way to explain to Jay what happened. So now Jay goes back to the future and has a new appreciation for his partner because of all that. So it's a nice little story. I just did a review. Alright, next up.